I feel that I had reached a point in my career where I had a lot of successes, but as these things happen, you have to continue working. You have to continue working and outputting at such a pace in this industry that it doesn't really leave a lot of time for mindful thought about why I am doing the things I'm doing. What am I doing? What do I want to do? And the program seemed to allow both, while I could continue working and take this space for myself. I wrote in my letter that this was a gift that I was offering myself, and I really do feel that that's what it is that I'm offering myself an opportunity to think about leadership, being led by folks who are enacting it, folks who are at all sorts of stages in their careers, to help me work through what I want my leadership to be, what I want my future to be as a person in this industry who is deeply in love with it and deeply in love with theater. But what can that mean for me creating sustainable systems to develop artists? What can that mean for me to be a public face to this industry in the long run? And how can I keep myself healthy? And how can I keep my artists healthy? These are the things that prompted me to need this program, to take that time. To be in a program where the end goal is developing myself as a leader, not the end goal of like producing a production or the end goal. So it is all of those things that I do, that I enact as a director of the Rhubarb Festival, as the company dramaturge at Buddies and Obsidian. It will allow me to do those things for myself, to figure out how, like speaking publicly about art to not artists, which is something that I don't actually do very often. I speak with artists pretty much constantly, and we all start on this sort of same page, agreeing of art's importance. But what is it to communicate to folks who are not deeply involved in this world as we are? What is it to create systems? I work in systems, but what is it to create those systems? What are the goals of those systems, and how can we take systems which are broken for a variety of reasons and still take what is good out of those systems? Because just because a system is broken doesn't mean that there isn't some value and good in there. So to really understand institutionally why things are created, why things can fail or not live up to their expectations, and how to navigate those things. Being part of the Banff Centre program has been the biggest thing that I have done so far. And I must say, again, to be in a room with 20 other artists from across the country and internationally, who are all in their own way in the same position as I am, really made me feel less alone. Really made me feel less alone in this endeavor. To feel the support of the school behind me in this moment in my career is enormous. Part of leadership is loneliness, I think. They are deeply intertwined. And so this program has allowed me a way to not feel alone in that loneliness. It doesn't alleviate the loneliness, but to not feel alone and to feel that there are folks who are supporting me from across the country is a bit of a miracle. To feel that I have this network of artistic support that goes Canada-wide. I haven't experienced anything like that in a long time, if ever. And I think that more leaders, like, we need to really engage with each other and not silo ourselves. And that's from someone who I definitely do silo myself. Like, I definitely do. I mean, the work that I'm doing is with queer artists, with artists of color, and because a lot of the time that art isn't being reflected in a lot of other spaces across the country, I do feel sort of in my own little world. But that's just not true, and it's maybe something I've made up in my head. I'm really getting the chance to reinterrogate all these false dichotomies that I've made up in my head about leadership, about theater, about our industry, and about institutions. I think if you see a path for yourself where you plan on speaking in public about the worth of art, and if you plan on taking interviews and trying to explain what the worth of art is, and even if you don't plan on that, you will have to. I think this program is critical to that development. I think there are a lot of ways that you can develop this in yourself, but a lot of those ways just happen by doing. And if you can give yourself the space to do that and make mistakes in a safe environment, my God. We are under such a microscope now as artists, and sometimes I feel there's so many pictures of myself out there's so many newspaper articles of myself out there that I needed somewhere sort of semi-private to work this out in myself, to make the mistakes, to make the contradictions in myself that there are, so that I can come out of it prepared. And make no mistake, we need to be very prepared now. We're living in a very complex world. And we are going to be asked some very, very difficult questions as leaders over the next, well, the rest of my career is going to be made up of difficult questions. And why not ask for someone to help you work through that?